So this is the first of two showcase series or scenarios I've made to demo some mods I've been working on, and this one is looking at the British in Shock Force 2. So initially this started as a little personal mod to make the troops a little more neat and uniform, so I was replacing DPM kit with Desert DPM. But it steadily escalated from there, so one of the first things I did was add sniper tape to the helmets, and then I started changing the Osprey itself to a Mark IV, and that came in tan and Desert DPM. Then it was mixing uniforms, so a mixture of Desert DPM and DPM, and finally brought it all the way up to full MTP. So in a sense, I think this is covering units between 2009 and 11, and then with the MTP it goes through all the way to 2014. And that focus meant I've picked a Hellman-based scenario from the scenario depot to sort of demonstrate this. So this is the mission, and straight away I want to jump to the designer's notes because this scenario is based on real events that led tragically to the death of the patrol commander. And I think it's important to bear this in mind. So there is a gravity to this situation, and whilst the Normandy missions, for example, are also based on real events with real losses, I think the tone needs to be respectful. What I'm going to try and focus this on is the tactical difficulties, and I'm actually set this to Iron mode. So in Iron mode, friendly units need to be spotted just like enemy units. If you have a friendly unit not in line of sight or in contact with another friendly unit, the only way to find this unit is either by re-establishing contact with another friendly unit or by clicking through chain of command in the game interface. So you jump from unit to unit. And this will give us a visual representation or an idea of how communications and command in the green zone is challenging. I've also want to bring this because I've got a little wider knowledge on the area. So in my first tour, which was a year after this event, I was bouncing around checkpoints, patrol bases, supporting local units, and one of the last locations I ended up at was a checkpoint just south of here. So I believe it was probably built during this tour or subsequently. So Haji Lem is where we're based out of here, and my checkpoint was further south. And I might be able to give a bit of a picture of what happened and how things changed and what was going on more widely. That might be of some interest. But yeah, what I've taken the mission briefing. I've got that on a separate screen, and I'm going to go to the map and actually just pull back firstly so I can look at the map and talk through whilst we're looking at the actual ground. And we'll go into the mission from there. So, situation. The terrain consists of mostly flat farmland, crisscrossed by irrigation ditches and dotted with wall compounds, either alone or clustered together. These ditches are mainly fed by a north-south canal that runs alongside checkpoint Haji Lem, with a single crossing point at the Green 9 junction. So this down here is the canal they're talking about, and then Green 9 is the crossing point just here beside the actual checkpoint we're operating from. Whilst this terrain allows for easy movement on foot, the ditches and compounds create a complex environment with ample hiding spots and cover. The rooftops of the compounds provide excellent vantage points. The time is 0800 hours on May 9th, 2009. The weather is clear and sunny, with a temperature of 33 degrees Celsius and no wind. Visibility is excellent, but the heat will likely take a toll on heavily equipped personnel. Overall, the terrain and weather conditions give an advantage to the enemy who are familiar with the area and lightly equipped. So, mission. 7 Platoon is to clear the enemy in vicinity of Green 9 no later than 1000 hours 9th May 2009 in order to deny the enemy firing points from which they can engage checkpoint Haji Alem. So the tasks we have. So firstly, we were meant to defend Haji Alem. We would then want to clear a number of compounds. So we have clear compound south, clear compound centre, clear compound north, and then northeast. And the final point that we've been given as a task is to defeat any Taliban that we encounter. Friendly forces. Since deploying in 2006, Task Force Helmand has steadily increased its presence and recently established a foothold in Nadi Ali district. The 1st Battalion Welsh Guards battle group took over the responsibility for this area of operations on April 24, 2009. Operations here have been difficult due to the challenging terrain, a large and motivated enemy, and a hostile local population. A key strategy for gaining local support has been the establishment of numerous forward operating bases and checkpoints throughout the district, as shown on the operational map. So, switching over to here and interjecting slightly, this is our checkpoint. We've got another one further to our west, one to our northwest-west, another over to our north-northeast. And as I say, when I turned up, there was one south of us, one southeast. So that it is this security through checkpoints and patrolling from those checkpoints that we're sort of looking at here. Checkpoint Haji Alem and its surrounding area are the responsibility of 7 Platoon 2 Company, 1st Battalion Welsh Guards Battle Group. Your force composition detailed in task org, so that's I think on the tactical map. It consists of a rifle platoon with fire support from GPMG, GMG, snipers and javelin anti-tank missiles. You also have a Royal Engineer section and a small Afghan National Army element. Mortar fire controller is available to call in mortar fire missions, while an Apache attack helicopter, call sign Ugly 51, they're expected on standby, but their arrival has been delayed by at least an hour. Enemy forces. The Taliban in Nadi Ali district of Helmand province have established strong links with the population and consequently exert considerable influence. The enemy in the immediate vicinity of the checkpoint, Haji Alem, is assessed to be determined and numerous, evidenced by the persistent direct fire attacks on the checkpoint from a numbered compounds. So we'll switch back to numbered compounds. So these are where we're frequently being attacked from. But particularly south, centre, north and northeast compounds. So, looking back at this, these are their favoured fire points. They're the ones they like to engage us from. Typical engagements involve small arms and RPG-7. Previous patrolling has identified that when the Taliban intend to offer resistance, reinforcements are summoned by ICOM, so push-to-talk radio, and can arrive in 15 to 20 minutes. So we'll bear that in mind as we patrol out, a rough idea of when we're going to be, if they are going to take us on, when they're going to take us on. Enemy numbers are unknown, but it is assessed that if the enemy decides to take us on, they can surge sufficient manpower to outnumber us and will likely attempt to isolate manoeuvre elements through skillful manoeuvre. And then the plan that we've been given from the actual commander that we're playing as. So, my intent is to facilitate manoeuvre of the patrol group through Overwatch, bringing to bear overwhelming firepower from the support by fire group on enemies encountered. The preferred method will be the use of long-range firepower delivered by support weapons and offensive support assets. So this is basically the GMG, GPMG units that we're going to leave behind in the checkpoint. And then when we're talking about offensive support assets, that will be our mortars, that will be our attack helicopter. End state will be target compounds cleared, with the patrol group returning to checkpoint Hajilem poised for future operations. So, that's basically what we're working with. I'll go very quickly back to the briefing and the tactical map, because this covers our sort of order of march that we're going to push out, and also the patrol route that we're taking. And then I'm going to stop about the 10-minute point, basically, and try and chunk these into 10-minute videos. So this is our suggested order of march. We'll lead off with the platoon, followed by the ANA, then the engineers and the mortar fire controller. The remaining units are going to be defending the checkpoint, with these offensive support units coming to support us later in the game. And then the patrol, so the fighting patrol we're going to move out on is a sort of clockwise box from checkpoint Hajilem up to the compounds and around. I'm going to stop it there, and then the next video will actually go into the planning and the first 10 minutes.